The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most strategically important waterways in the world, located between Iran and Oman, with the Omani exclave of Muzandam. It connects the Persian Gulf with the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. Today, it is considered the most important oil transit chokepoint on Earth. However, its importance did not begin in the modern oil era. It has been a strategic passage for trade, empire building, and military power for centuries. This text explores the history of the Strait of Hormuz since the 16th century, who controlled it, conflicts related to its control, and most importantly, why it is so crucial today and why any blockade would have enormous consequences for the global economy. In the early 16th century, European powers began expanding into the Indian Ocean to control trade routes. One of the most aggressive maritime empires at the time was the Portuguese Empire. In 1507, Portuguese forces led by Afonso de Albuquerque captured the island of Hormuz. Their objective was clear: control trade between India, Persia, Arabia, and Europe. At the time, the region was important not for oil, but for spices, silk, pearls, and other luxury goods. The Portuguese built forts and turned Hormuz into a major naval base. By controlling the strait, they could tax ships and dominate trade routes between the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf. For more than a century, Portugal controlled the Strait of Hormuz, making it one of the earliest examples of a maritime chokepoint controlled by a foreign naval power. Portuguese control ended in 1622 when the Safavid Empire, with assistance from the British East India Company, captured Hormuz from the Portuguese. After that, Persian powers controlled the northern coast, while various Arab rulers controlled the southern coast. Over time, the United Kingdom became the dominant naval power in the Persian Gulf during the 18th and 19th centuries. Britain was interested in protecting trade routes to India, the most important colony of the British Empire. The British established treaties with Gulf states and effectively controlled maritime security in the region. The Strait of Hormuz became part of Britain's global naval network, linking Europe to India and Asia. During this period, there were no major wars specifically for the strait itself, but control of the Persian Gulf and surrounding territories was part of the broader rivalry between European empires and regional Persian and Ottoman powers. The real global importance of the Strait of Hormuz began in the 20th century with the discovery of massive oil reserves in the Persian Gulf, especially in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar. All these countries export oil and gas through the Persian Gulf, and almost all of it must pass through the Strait of Hormuz. This transformed the strait from a regional trade route into a global energy lifeline. One of the most important conflicts affecting the strait was the Iran-Iraq War. During this war, both countries attacked oil tankers in what became known as the Tanker War. The goal was to damage each other's oil exports and economy. Later, during the Gulf War and the Iraq War, the strait remained strategically important for military logistics and oil transport. However, despite tensions and conflicts, the strait has never been completely closed in modern history. This is the most important part. Today, the Strait of Hormuz is considered the most important oil choke point in the world. Around 20% of the world's oil consumption passes through this narrow waterway. That means roughly 1 out of every 5 barrels of oil traded globally goes through this strait. It is only about 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, and shipping lanes are even narrower, making it extremely vulnerable to blockades, mines, or military conflict. Most oil exported from the Persian Gulf must pass through the strait. If we look at global energy flows, Saudi Arabia exports oil through Hormuz, Iraq exports oil through Hormuz, Kuwait exports oil through Hormuz, UAE exports oil through Hormuz, Qatar exports liquefied natural gas, LNG, through Hormuz. This means that the economies of Asia, Europe, and even the United States depend indirectly on this route. Countries highly dependent on oil from this region include China, India, Japan, South Korea, and many European countries. If the strait closes, oil supply drops immediately, and prices rise dramatically worldwide. If the Strait of Hormuz were blocked, the consequences would be enormous. Oil prices could double or triple in a short time because supply would suddenly fall while demand remains the same. Oil effects: transportation, electricity, manufacturing, food production, shipping, aviation. If oil becomes expensive, everything becomes more expensive. Many countries could enter recession because companies would pay more for energy, transport costs would increase, food prices would increase, inflation would rise, interest rates might increase, economic growth would slow. A closure of the strait could trigger a global economic crisis. Iran controls the northern side of the strait and has repeatedly threatened to close it during conflicts or sanctions. Iran could block the strait using naval mines, missiles, fast attack boats, submarines, drones, coastal missile systems. Even if the blockage lasted only a few weeks, the economic impact would be massive. This is why the United States Navy and other Western navies maintain a strong presence in the Persian Gulf to ensure the strait remains open. In geopolitics, the Strait of Hormuz is called a choke point, a narrow route that is extremely important for global trade. Other choke points include Suez Canal, Panama Canal, Strait of Malacca, but the Strait of Hormuz is considered the most important energy choke point in the world. The global economy depends on cheap energy and stable transportation routes. Oil is still essential for cars, trucks, ships, airplanes, plastics, chemicals, fertilizers, industry, electricity in some countries. If oil supply is interrupted, transport slows, food becomes more expensive, manufacturing slows, stock markets fall, inflation rises, governments face economic crises. This is why any military tension in the Strait of Hormuz immediately affects global stock markets and oil prices. Even rumors of conflict can move markets. Since the 16th century, the Strait of Hormuz has been controlled by different powers: the Portuguese Empire, Persian empires, the British Empire, and today it is influenced mainly by Iran, Gulf countries, and the United States Navy. However, its importance has never been greater than today. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a regional waterway. It is one of the most critical points in the global economic system. A large portion of the world's oil and gas passes through this narrow corridor, making it essential for global trade, energy supply, and economic stability. If the strait were blocked, the world would likely face massive oil price increases, global inflation, economic recession, stock market crashes, political and military conflicts. For this reason, many experts believe the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most strategically important places on Earth, and it will continue to be a central point of global geopolitics in the future.